laughing. Like, I'm used to it. It's fine.
What are we going back to the 1920s? Are we going to a parasol parade?
I'm going out to the farm. I'm going to walk barefoot both ways in the snow.
In the
Uphill.
snow?
Yeah.
So did you, first of all, are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
All right, so then I have a question for you.
Okay.
This is a multiple choice question. Okay, what's with the hat? A, I lost a bet.
Cute.
B, someone dared me. C, I got a wild you-know-what up my you-know-what and just decided to buy something. D, none of your business. I'm expressing myself.
What do you think, Dave?
I think it's D.
There you go. How about Ashley and Dave decided to record a podcast today and Ashley didn't wash her hair?
Oh,
How about
there you go.
that?
That one is a good one. Hey, I just got to notice that we're using extra resources on my bandwidth.
Don't you have the extra oomph? No, you have the extra oomph in your other house that's
Well-
getting remodeled that we tell the people about in like the next episode or two.
So where'd you get the hat?
I got the hat from the Ross Dress for Less, which is where I get all my clothes. No, this is TJ Maxx. I think this is pajamas that I wear as outerwear because it's fun like that. And
Well,
I'm like leaning into it because I'm a Maxinista and not a fashionista.
And the double extra benefit is if you're wearing it out somewhere at night and you just get tired, just lay down.
I'm just crashing at your house.
Just lay down. Exactly. I know it.
In this work from home life, I have expanded my pajama repertoire. Like that's just what we do now, right?
Yeah.
Since pandemic. Yeah. That's what we do.
Yeah, no need for going out clothes. Well,
No,
not as much
no.
need for them, right?
No.
Yeah.
No. Who needs to go out when you've got exciting work like this?
And I'm on my streak right now. I think this is the 7th time in a row doing a podcast where I'm wearing the blue hoodie.
Well, we're gonna see all the blue hoodies in season 1 of Ash and Dave.
I got them all going. It's the thing I can rely on most. It's the thing that gives me comfort. It's my little blankie. It's my blue hoodie.
I needed your blue hoodie yesterday as my comfort blanket as I was launching the podcast to all of my Facebook friends.
Yeah.
And I had a severe vulnerability hangover from it. Like after I hit publish, I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm going to throw up. No, I'm going to cry. I'm crying.
Well, did you disclose too much?
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I haven't seen the post.
You didn't see the post?
I saw your Instagram. Was it the same one that you posted to Instagram?
Essentially. So yes,
Okay.
After I did the hard launch on Facebook, I then did the hard launch on Instagram and I had to reformat things. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm making a reel. Like, here's what my life has now become. I'm making a reel with my face on it. Like, I'm the real. Oh my God. And I think I sent you the vomit emoji.
And now people are signing up. They're subscribing. They want more.
They want to know more about what we're doing. And that's why I wanted to come on and talk to you. One of the main reasons I wanted to go back and do the origin story is I was like, what's this Zoom recording right here? And I clicked into it and it was me revealing the podcast artwork to you.
No.
And you were like, oh, look at us. We're a thing. You look like Erin Andrews. And I was like, that was the moment we kind of became a thing. I think we should go ahead and play that recording for our listeners right now. Here we go.
Well, now you're recording our meeting?
Yeah, I'm recording the reaction. I'm on my own body, I think. You know what? She is a little slimmer. She's slender.
Yeah.
And she wears an outfit that I would never wear these days.
Yeah. You look like, you know who you look like there? Erin Andrews.
Oh, I do. I do look like EA. Are you going to call me EA?
Yeah.
AM?
However, I like the look, but there's no way that we're going to use those two images.
But isn't that fun? It kind of lands us and starts us getting good juju vibes about what we're doing. It makes it a thing. It's official, kind of.
Exactly. All we know about the stuff we know. I like that. A Focus Tools
right?
Podcast. And I would put your name first, not mine.
Why?
Because Ash, it sounds better with the female first.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
had you on the left because you were leaning, and
Yeah.
I need to flip the image, and then I could put you on the other side. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we're not going to use AI, Dave, and Dave's not going to be wearing a tie or a necktie. So,
What are you gonna be wearing, Dave?
yeah, not a suit and tie. I can tell you that.
I sent this picture to a friend of mine that we met in college, and he like works right down the street. He's like one of my best friends. He goes, "Who the is Ashley Martin?" Like, it's just some chick I've been playing with the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Who is that?
I don't call you that.
But yeah, I like the look. I like the, the kind of the feel of it. It looks professional. I mean, we'll have to look kind of professional, but not like this,
Not like fake professional,
not
not
like
like
stiff.
that professional.
Exactly, exactly. Um, but yeah, all we know about the stuff we know. I mean, and then the fact that you say a Focus Tools podcast, that kind of ties it in, right?
Right?
Yeah. Maybe we start there.
Maybe. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I mean, why not?
Why not?
Yeah. All we know about the stuff we know. I like it.
And we're back. That clip was from December. Back in the day. Look at us now. So, yes, since folks are interested, I thought we could chat about what we're doing and how you and I got started and where our hearts are in this podcast. If there's any heart whatsoever, maybe not.
Now, how far are we going back? I mean, back to the beginning or just back to
When your hair was brown, Dave.
that is a boatload of history right there.
That's enough.
That's enough. Yeah, we can start wherever you want, whatever you think would be interesting for the folks to know.
Well, like for the podcast specifically, I remember when everything shifted when COVID hit and we had to change our in person workshops to this virtual experience. And we needed to figure out how we were going to do this and what was my role and what was your role. And we get this group on Zoom, and Ash and Dave put on a freaking show. And
Well,
I remember what?
we had to because our first virtual workshop was 50 some people, right?
That's right.
Yeah, from all
That's
over the
right.
world.
That's right. And I remember getting amped up for that, being like, oh my God. And I'm like dancing. I think I have a reel of me dancing, like trying to like shake the nerves out for what we were about to do. Because it was going to go really well or it was going to go off the rails. But
Yeah. Yeah, and
it went
luckily
okay.
it went really well because they were a bunch of happy folks. But it was from one of our multinational companies, and these folks were
Yeah.
literally all over the world
Yeah.
for this thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was our first session. Well, yeah, because our business before the pandemic was primarily in-person stuff,
Yeah.
whether it was workshops or whether we were doing a train the trainer certification, whether we were doing coach, even our coaching did a lot of it in person, some of it over the phone, but a lot in person. And then all of a sudden, just like that, our business goes to zero. And we're like, okay,
Oops.
yeah, oops, what are we going to do now? And so, I was much too young to retire at that point in time. Yeah, no, I could have said, no, I'm done. That's right. Just hang it up. Like my friend Tim, who you're going to meet in a future episode, he had the misfortune of timing his retirement. He timed his retirement like a year and a half out for March of 2020. And when March of 2020 came, he stuck with his retirement and he walked into the office on that day, the only person in that entire office building, cleaned out his desk and said, bye-bye. That's it.
Deuces.
Yeah. 38
Peace and a
years.
bottle of hair grease.
Yeah. 38 years. Bye-bye. That was a Yeah. So we said, okay, well, if we're going to survive, we're going to go online. We got to put a
Yeah.
bunch of our stuff online. You found a couple of cool online platforms, which we started authoring. And what was cool about them is that they were so easy to use that even I could author stuff
The old
on
man.
the old
Yeah.
man on online stuff, on
Yeah.
online courses. And so, yeah, we, for a good, 2, maybe even 3 years, we were just, our business went from something to nothing and then all of a sudden to everything. It just went crazy there for a while. We had to hire more folks.
Yep.
And that's kind of how we established our online presence. But what we learned in those workshops is that having two of us is not just twice as good, it's about 10 times as good, because people can listen to the conversation. They don't have to listen to one person talking. They can listen to two people have a conversation. Questions that typically might come up, and it's just a much more engaging experience.
Yeah. When we got done with that first workshop, I remember telling your wife, Mary, me and Dave should take this show on the road. Like, this is a comedy show. This was good. I surprised myself.
You knew in your heart you were a
Good.
funny person.
Deep down somewhere, I didn't need a hat back in the day, but like, yeah, deep down, I knew I was born to shine, and here we go.
And here we go. So now, fast forward to what, about 5 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, and you said what? You told me
we need to launch a podcast.
We need to launch a podcast.
We're going to launch a podcast. I felt here's the deal. Like, you had told me even a few weeks prior to that, we should do a podcast. And I have been revolting this idea and saying, nope, I ain't doing no podcast, because I know how much work it's going to be. I know how much work it's going to be, and it's all for nothing. Like, what are we doing? I mean, I know it's going to be fun, but like, how can we leverage this in a way to not only bring us joy, but to teach something in the process and maybe make a little money while doing it, right?
Yep.
That's what we're all here for.
I've got a good friend who retired, and his post-retirement project was he wanted to write a book. And he was a history buff, and he wanted to write a book about the presidents. And he spent, and this is, kind of during the pandemic also, so he had a lot of time on his hands. And he spent a couple of years writing a book and got it published, and it's on Amazon. And we'll talk to that guy in a future episode.
Yeah.
So when Mary was asking me, well, why are you doing a podcast? And I said, I don't know. Ashley said we're doing one. Well, I guess.
Let's go.
We're saying something. But I said, you know what? This is kind of like, I don't have the patience or the skill to write a book. But I have had, as you can tell with my gray hair, a very long career, and have seen and witnessed a lot and learned a few things. And so maybe this is a way that we can, discuss that in a manner that is kind of, I don't know if you're going to call it permanent, but it's going to stick around for a while. And we can share some of those things that we've experienced and learned, and talk to some of the people that we've had the good pleasure to work with over the years. And there's probably stuff we can learn from them too. So this is kind of like, I'm not going to call it my book, but it's something that we can do that is a fun project. And, we'll reminisce a little bit. We'll also, like we did with our series, what was it called? The 5 things you need to know about decision making that you probably don't know that you really should know, or something like that. And so we'll have a few of those as well.
It's funny that you're like, I don't have the skills to write a book, yet in the future episodes, you start talking about these 5 things that we need to know about decision making. And you sent me, can you hear the train in the back?
No.
Can you hear that? Okay, good. You sent me like this book, like this little mini book that I'm like, Dave is such a great writer. He's always been so amazing at giving me copy, at explaining concepts that are like, you take this big jumble in our heads and you just break it down into these really simple, natural ways that I just burned through this book. I was like, this is great. This is so great.
Yeah. So I guess a small spoiler alert. We did write a small book, but it's going to be an ebook. But yes,
we'll publish it on our website, focustools.com/5things, the number 5 things. And you could go there right now, Dave, and you could look at it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Go take a look.
All right. I better go see what it looks like.
It's a work in progress, but by the time we hit publish, it's ready.
And we might do that's one topic that we happen to know quite a bit about. And there's other topics that we happen to know quite a bit about too, but it's not going to be 200 pages. It's not going to be a long thing.
Ain't nobody got time for that, Dave.
One of the things that when I got involved in this business years and years ago, one of the things that the founder of our business told me is that he said, we have to break everything down into its most simple form.
Yeah.
And so, if we try to get too academic, too much like we know what we're talking about, and not enough like, well, so what? How can I use this every day? Then we're going to go nowhere. So he was really good at doing that. And so I think we've developed some of that as well over the years.
Yeah. Can you tell me or tell our audience a little bit more about what our company does and what we want to focus on?
Yes, I can.
I mean, I got involved with you guys probably what, like 2010
2009 or
ish?
2010. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I've had like this 15-year relationship of working with you guys, and I love working with you guys, but I also think there's a lot of heart and soul in what we do. And so I would just love to tell everybody about that.
Well, so this actually is a family business that was started way back in the 1970s
Mhm.
by Mary's father. Okay, so Mary's my wife, and she predates me in the business. She actually, her dad started this business. He was with a consulting company way back in the 60s and 70s who specialized in business decision making tools and techniques, problem solving and decision making tools and techniques, and they were really good at it. And but they had a course, a problem solving and decision making course. Talk about how things have changed. It was a 5-day workshop. So you sat in a classroom for 5 days and learned all about tools and techniques for problem solving and decision making. And they were really good techniques, but you literally spent a week. And Mary's dad said, you know what? I think I can do better. And now this is in the 1970s, but still, who's got a week to devote to going to a class or a workshop?
Yeah.
So he condensed it down to 2 days, a 2-day workshop. And again, he set aside all the, sort of the academic stuff and the research and all that stuff, which is important. But, people at work don't need it. They just need to know how they're going to solve a problem, how they're going to make a decision, how they're going to get something done. And so he condensed it down to 2 days. He left the company, let his non-compete run out, started a new business in the 70s with this flagship 2-day problem solving decision making workshop. And it was a hit. He off to the races he went. And he was on the road 4 days a week for 50 weeks a year teaching these workshops. Mary and I met in graduate school way back when, and we both had business MBAs. And she went to work in the retail industry. I went to work in the energy industry. She discovered that retail, she was a buyer for a big retail chain and went to New York twice a month. And
She
the
was the
first,
buyer for Marshall Fields,
yeah, their
right?
predecessor,
Which is
Dayton
where
Hudson.
I got hired
Yeah.
in
Yep.
2005 after Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
Funny.
Yep. So she bought high fashion stuff for Dayton Hudson. She'd go to New York twice a month, and she would describe it this way: the first year, awesome, I got to be in New York all the time. The second year, not so much fun because I had to be in New York, 2 times a month. The third year, I had to get out. And
Yeah.
so her dad said, "Hey, why don't you join me?" And that was in the 1980s. And so she did a really good job of taking his concepts and branding them and making them less dependent on the person and more dependent on the content. And so that's how the brand Decision Focus was born out of their collaboration back in the 1980s. He fast forward to the 1990s. He decided it was time to hang up his shingle, and I was still working for the other company at the time. And Mary and I were like, "Hey, wait a minute. Maybe this is an opportunity for us to buy the business and set out on our own." So we actually bought the business from her father way back then and started it as Focus Performance. Actually, had a predecessor name, but Focus Performance was the name it eventually became. And off we went. And so that was our one and only product when we began. But in the 90s, teams were a thing that was starting to happen, where companies were creating teams to do things, to build products, to solve problems, to initiate new stuff. And so this whole world of how we navigate in teams rather than formal departments became kind of a new thing. We partnered with a company from Australia who you have met, John, our
Hmm.
partner in
I
Australia.
love John. He's so
And he
sweet.
was an expert on teams. He was really good. And so we co-authored a workshop in the these together called Team Focus, which is all about getting more stuff done in teams. And so that sent us off into that direction as well. We also dabbled in creativity tools and techniques for business, creative focus. You notice a common theme here of focus, decision focus, team focus, creative focus. And then as part of the team focus workshop, we wanted to find a behavioral assessment tool that team members could use to learn about each other. And so that's when we discovered the DISC profile back in the 90s. And they happened to be located in Minneapolis. We happened to be located in Minneapolis at the time. So we got together with them and we decided, yeah, let's try this disc profile. Well, that was about 31,000 profiles ago, and we kind of discovered it by accident, and that whole disc profile became a very important part of what we did to help teams, whether it was team focus or its new title called ATP, Advancing Team Performance. So that kind of got into the human side of things. Decision focus is all about how to make smart, rational decisions, whether you're doing it at home or at work. And team focus is some of the team fundamentals, team purpose, team goals, team roles, but a lot of it is relationships. And so the DISC profile really was the kind of the key that unlocked how we could help people have better, stronger, more productive relationships at work.
Yes.
And you joined us right in the middle of all that.
Yes. Yeah. And when I joined you and I took the DISC profile, it blew my mind. It was like, this is everything that I think about myself, but here's the words that say it on paper. And it makes me feel okay to be me, that I'm not crazy for talking with my hands, being extroverted and needing those connections. I integrated DISC and I used it everywhere I went. Since then, I loved it so much. It was my heart.
Yeah, you and I had a conversation about that and about DISC certification about a month ago. And there was about 5 minutes of content in there that we really dig into what DISC is and why it's really good and why we like it.
Yeah, we'll link it in the show notes if you want to go learn more about DISC and take
the
survey.
There you go. Yep. So then, so that really kind of brought us into that realm. So most of our work has been with B2B company, with bigger companies who want to invest in their talent. We have worked with some smaller organizations. We've worked with some startups. We've had experience helping businesses do business planning and strategic plans. So we've helped under 500 person companies in that realm rather than the giant multinationals. So we do a little of that. But now, that kind of gets us to the pandemic, and pandemic has changed a lot because now there are so many more people that are on their own or working with a small team or doing, gigs here and there, but they have the same issues. It's just a different format or a different forum that the issues arise in. They still got to connect with people. They still have to solve problems. They still have to make good, smart decisions. They still have to have a really high degree of self-awareness to understand how they can operate at their peak with whomever they're working with. And so, all the concepts that we've been talking about for years in that company forum or that company environment, it all applies individually. And so the podcast can help us to kind of touch that stuff to folks who might want to grab it just because they want or are interested in it on their own.
And that's why I was like, we have to do a podcast. We have to get the word out, because I found myself using the tools that I learned with DISC and the things that I learned from you from decision making. And I would use these in my conversations with my friends all the time. And it was just like me, whenever you would tell me these things, you could see the light bulbs go off with people, right? You could see that was really helpful to know that. Dang. And so I have such a passion for removing the corporate walls and taking away the veil and saying, okay, Ash and Dave, let's bring this to the people. Let's bring these concepts to the people so that we can just help as many people as we can, not struggle from some of the mistakes that we still make.
Really? After all these years? Oh my goodness.
I am going to air the story of your remodel and how you went against your intuition.
Yeah. Yes. Well, sometimes teachers need to take some of their own lessons with them. But you'll hear more about that in that story. So as we're thinking about what we want to do with the podcast, I mean, some of this will just evolve over time and we'll figure out some stuff. But what we do know is that we will cover content that we're pretty good at, right? And we've already started doing some of that, and we'll do more of that with you and I. But we're also going to have an opportunity to talk with other folks, have some guests on the show. And learn from them. So we've got folks in the lineup right now. We've got some folks who have worked in corporate America, as from literally the guy, running the mail down the hallway to executive VP of a multinational 80,000 person company. We got that guy coming, and you're going to really enjoy talking to him. We have some entrepreneurs coming, folks who have started multiple companies, built multiple companies, and sold multiple companies. So we're going to hear from them too. And again, we'll find out, how do they go about making the tough decisions? How do they go about prioritizing? How do they go about connecting with people in relationships? What were some of the boo-boos they made along the way, and why was it so important that they experience that stuff. So we'll talk about them. We'll talk about we'll talk to executives in the nonprofit world. We've got some friends who are running fairly big nonprofit organizations. And again, even though the title says nonprofit, all the same stuff applies, right? You still have to make smart decisions. You still have to get along with people. You still have to understand who it is you're serving and why. So we'll talk to them. We've got a couple of young friends. And of course, you're looking at me saying, well, yeah, everyone you talk to is younger, right?
I'm a young friend.
You're a young friend. I'm talking even younger.
Are we going to deal with the Zennials, Dave?
Yes.
I don't know if I can handle that. Like, I might have to download TikTok just for that episode.
Yeah. We'll talk to a couple of friends who are just getting going, who are starting businesses. I've got a friend who's starting a really cool business in the sports space. And you're going to really enjoy hearing his story because he just decided that's what he was going to do. And he dug in and he's learned a few things along the way, but he's really doing well. So we'll talk to them. As you know, we've got a couple of professional athletes who are friends and who are, assisting and helping them in their careers. So we might talk to those guys. And that's just to get us going. How about you? Who are you going to bring on the show?
We get into a little bit of Ask Ash and Dave,
Mm-hmm.
and people are submitting their questions, and I'm bringing them on the podcast. I'm bringing them to my wise decision maker guru, that guy over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how should my friend have handled this, Dave? And that's always fun to get into.
So I get to give free advice with no accountability?
Yes, no accountability whatsoever.
This is going to be great.
This is what you should have done, bro.
Yeah.
Work it out.
Of course,
Good luck.
you get what you pay for, right? So
yeah.
Yeah. But yes, we'll have an opportunity if people want to submit some questions or at least ask some questions about stuff. Sure, we'll jump into that. Hopefully it'll help. Hopefully we'll help them. So yeah, I think that's kind of where we're heading, and I'm not sure where it's going to go. But part of that'll depend on who's interested and what kind of stuff they want and what kind of stuff we think we can offer that will be of value.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited. You got a joke for me today?
Oh my gosh, no, I forgot.
You know what? I have a contact lens problem.
Okay.
But I don't have any contact lens solution.
Whoa.
Problem prevention joke, Dave.
It's a dad joke, and
he gave it to me. I have now recruited him, my father, Terry Harrison, to lean in and pull the show forward with the dad jokes in case you can't come in clutch next time.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you about a new invention, and I want you to ask me if I think it will be successful.
Okay. What's the new
invention?
Yeah, I heard.
I was talking to a guy the other day who was in it's kind of sad. He's in the mortuary business, and he said they are going to start trying out glass coffins. Now you asked me,
work? Will it be successful, Dave?
Remains to be seen.
People are going to shut this off. They're just going to close the phone and walk away.
Yeah, maybe we ought to do this. Maybe we ought to promise to never tell another joke again.
No, where's the fun in that? We got to keep my eye style happy.
This is one of my dad's favorite. My dad's been gone a long time now, but this was one of his favorite jokes when I was growing up. He said, okay, so I'm going to do it the way he did it. Ashley asked me 3 questions. Question number 1 is, what do you do for a living? Question number 2 is, how is it going? Do you want to write these down? What do you do for a living?
Is there a chat here where you could type these out and I could read them? Oh my gosh, where's my pen? What do you do for a living? Yep.
Question number 2 is, how's it going? And question number 3 is, what's the main problem?
Okay, so Dave.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
Me? Oh, I'm a comedian.
Oh, well, how's it going?
Not too well.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's
timing?
The problem?
Oh.
Can I go next?
Yes.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting cow. And so now, if we haven't lost all the listeners, by now they're gone.
This is why we get paid the big bucks. This is why. We bring quality content to enhance your life.
Maybe we ought to commit to having slightly better jokes in the future.
Okay.
Jokes
That's on you. That's on you.
Now,
Not
if
on
listeners want to submit jokes, we're happy to share them
Okay.
as long as they're, G or PG rated, that kind of thing. So,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, all I gotta do is check a box and make it X-rated. It's fine.
Okay.
That'll notify all the people that this is a little. Oh, we get little turns in this episode.
Yep. No, we'll keep a G and PG, at least in the beginning. How about that? Yeah, okay.
That's it for this episode of All We Know About the Stuff We Know. If today's show got you thinking and you want to learn more, grab our ebook, 5 Things You Need to Know About Making Decisions. It's short, powerful, like me, and packed with stuff you can actually use. It's our practical guide to help you make smarter moves. You can find it and download it at focustools.com/5things. That's focustools.com/5things. All We Know About the Stuff We Know is built for people like you who want to think better, lead better, and connect better, at work and beyond. If this show has sparked new ideas or helped you navigate something really challenging in your life, we'd love to connect with you. Follow us on Instagram at The Stuff We Know Show, or get in touch with us on the web at www.focustools.com. Like what you're hearing? Let us know. Leave a review. It takes 30 seconds and makes a huge difference. Your engagement helps more people find us, and it helps us keep bringing you the good stuff. And hey, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up. See you next time for All We Know About the Stuff We Know.